Hi, this is Joey with a review of the LeBron 17s. I wasn't expecting much from it, but this is quite the pleasant surprise. Uh, I've never been this impressed with the LeBron series. I don't think almost ever. They always had some flaws. If they had some decent cushioning, the weight was horrific, breathability was an issue, or the fit was weird, or it was just too high off there. It wasn't low to the ground enough, or the outsole was slipping all over the place. They had some issues. This one, it's a nice surprise. The first thing I'm going to talk about is how the cushioning setup is different from the 15s and 16. The 15 and the 16s were pretty much a lazy repetition of each other. Just added some. The big difference on the 16s was that they added the anti-inversion extra little meat here, which the 15 didn't have, because even LeBron was tripping all over the place because it was so dangerous. It was so high off the ground and it didn't have any outrigger, but they put it there, and ironically LeBron actually had outriggers on his 15s, but it didn't have it on the ones that were on sale for regular Joes like us, so it felt a little betrayed. The battle knit was an interesting move. They tried to use a different type of weaving for different areas. I think for this one, 15, I'm gonna have to give this a win on the 4-foot toe box area. It was tightly woven, and it provided nice little support, stretchy on the tongue area, so it's easier for you to fit in there. This one, the knit on the 4-foot area, the toe box, it's nice. It's soft and it's elastic, and yet it's decent enough to provide some lockdown, but it's a bit stretchy. I wish they would have done something to make it a little bit firmer, or have some coating there, like this coating here, the knit posits. Instead of battle knit, on top of that, they fused some posit materials here, which is a nice little try, but I don't, unless they come up with some new ways of using it. This is more like Nike trying to say, look what we can do. Look at what we're attempting. Give us some credit for that. I'll give you credit for trying that. It looks nice. A knit material with some shiny posit materials. Posits have always been popular for their flashy look. So yeah, it makes the shoe a little bit more attractive. I like how it's the purple and gold Lakers color, like marbled color woven Van Gogh-esque touch here, which is, I think they're beautiful aesthetically. In terms of aesthetics, they're beautiful, so that's great. But I wish they would have implemented some of this firmness firming technology, if you might call it, on the toe box area, because you feel a bit of a room up here, and you wish you could have a little bit more of a lockdown here. It fits true to size. Even those with wide foot should be able to fit just fine without having to go up half a size. Those with really narrow feet, definitely you're gonna have to go down half a size. The cushioning is the first thing you notice. Oh yeah, the outrigger. Yeah, it's clearly there, clear outrigger groove there. Yeah, to provide some anti-inversion protection there. So great job, Nike. Thank you for putting it there, like you did with the 17s. And added to that is they have a bit of a TPU or a plastic coating here to make it a little bit more firm on the lateral side. The medial side, they have really soft foam. I don't know what it is. It feels like very soft cushion lawn or Luna lawn. If this is EVA, it's a very low density EVA. So the 4-foot cushioning is awesome. It's so much better than the 15 and 17, which felt rock hard. Even though they looked great, they didn't. Yeah, they were just horrible. They might as well have been full-length Max Airs. But this isolated zoom pods, they're way better. They tried something like this in the LeBron 13s, but failed miserably because the zoom pods were right on the outsole, and you don't feel much of it until it's punctured. And the size and the isolation, I guess maybe the PSI also, it didn't really work out. But yeah, for this one, it feels great. It feels like the zooms they used for the coin size zooms they used for the Kobe 6. The Kobe 6 were low to the ground, and they only had zooms here and the heel, but they did their job incredibly. And I can say, I can give the same kind of congratulations to the LeBron 17s for that. The Max here is great. They feel almost as good as the Hyperflight Max that I tout as the best Zoom Max, or just basically best Nike cushioning ever. And although this is a Zoom Max here, this actually feels just as good, if not better. Although it looks like a big bubble, it feels lower to the ground, and it's very responsive, shockingly responsive for Max Air. I did not really like the 720 Max Air runners that they were coming out, because they just feel softly heeled and hard at the forefoot. But maybe it's because it only covers half of the foot. It does an excellent job. I was a little concerned because unlike the traditional Zoom, Max Airs, where they had a little bit of a AirPod here in the middle and a tube surrounding it, they just had a tube surrounding it and just foam materials here. But it actually works. It actually works better than the old-fashioned Max Air. This is great. The Max Air tubing does its job. At the same time, it's responsive. It's soft to the touch. You can feel it working even if you're casually strolling forward, and at the same time, it makes you feel like you're low to the ground, and it still does a good job of impact protection. Not like the 15s and 16s where you saw the Zoom Air but you didn't feel anything. Just they were working in places where you can't feel it. So great job. I love it. It's excellent. The downside of it is it's kind of heavy. For a size 9, it weighs around close to 500 grams, so that's almost as heavy as the Foamposites. So the Foamposites were never exactly a performer, they were a looker. I wish they could have done something to lighten it up. I mean, they have all these grooves where the unnecessary rubber or foam is like all shaved out, but it still weighs close to 500 grams. The upside of it is if you wear it and you run around in it, it doesn't feel as heavy as some of the other former heavyweight LeBrons, like the LeBron 4s, which was a heavily Foamposite covered, which was heavy, and it felt heavy, and it was heavy. This one doesn't feel that heavy. So I don't know what magic they did, but it works that way. And I was a little bit concerned about this part, the mouth, if you might call it. These little, they look a little bit edgy and sharp, but they're all like stretchy knit materials, so they don't hurt or intrude or protrude or anything. They just wrap around your socks nicely. The collar, the padding inside it's nice, nothing protruding or providing any kind of blisters or chafing. The heel cup does a good job, and the extra knit posit, it is there to provide some firmer support. I don't know how it will work. I don't think it will work like the original Foamposites did, because they're not all over the place, and they're not a singular layer where they would respond to the body heat and conform to the shape of your foot. So I don't think we can expect much of that. Maybe a little, but it's not entirely Foamposite. It's knit with some Foamposite material molded into it. It looks great. I guess it provides some degree of firmness and support, but feels like it's not that much of a far-fetched cry from the kind of hyperfused materials that's used to coat the knitted or webby mesh materials to be a little bit firmer to provide us a bit more support. So that would have been lighter, but this is in tune with the LeBron look, the concept of LeBron, that he's supposed to represent something firm and hard like a Foamposite. So that's how it is, I suppose. These little TPU or soft plastic support parts, for the LeBron 10s, they've had something like this, and it was like all the way up here, and it was like really digging into your ankles and feet and gave you extremely bad chafing. But yeah, it does its job without hindering your movement or cutting into your feet. So great job, Nike, on doing that. The LeBron 17s is one of the best out of the LeBron series, and I guess it will really help King James bounce back and reclaim his throne with the Lakers. Although I think the biggest challenge, they'll have a lot of challenges standing in the way. Kawhi, Paul George, Lou Williams, and the Clippers might be the biggest challenge in my personal opinion, but we'll see how it works out. LeBron had a good rest for the first time in his career, I think, so we'll see something different. And this shoe certainly would help him get the job done. Uh, the out the outsole. The pattern is similar to the pattern is it feels like an extended, deeper groove version of the ones that you would have seen the Adidas Crazy Light with the first Crazy Light to feature boost, Adidas Crazy Light 2015, which had a little bit of a boost here, and the grooves were nice, but they were very shallow, and it seemed like somebody used a knife to cut them in there, but it served this purpose unless it eat up dust. So this one with this deep, thick groove, it's reminiscent of the ones they used, the kind of honeycomb pattern they use in the KD9s. I think many people loved the grip on this one, so this is a nice little variation of that. It provides overall good grip, and it's a lot more durable because they're really deep, as you can tell. They also feel like an enlarged, magnified version of the kind of flowy, wavy groove that you've seen in the Jordan Superfly 2. So this has taken a lot of positive, strong, good aspects from a number of LeBrons and other Nike shoes, and I guess in some sense Adidas shoe as well, and then it fused them all nicely, just like how this knit material is fused nicely with the posits to give it a unique look. The tongue is all 3M reflective material. I think it works better with the Back to the Future type of colorway they had with a silver iridescent tone. But hey, this is pretty cool. Lion's eyes are stitched, embroidered, and the LeBron King James crown logo is stitched as well on top of this 3M material. So yeah, that's nice. Even if you remove the insole, which is a not any extra super thick or super thin, but just ordinary ortholite insole that does its job. If you remove it and try it, even without the insole, it feels soft. It feels soft. It's a soft ride compared to softer than any of the previous LeBrons that we've had since the LeBron 10. Even softer than LeBron 10, I might add. They did a good job. They worked some Nike magic here. The weight is a bit of a problem. The digits say 500 grams for a size 9, about 480, 490 grams for a size 9, but it doesn't feel that heavy. It feels like this is a shoe that I think a lot of players would love to rock. Again, it feels low to the ground, but the cushioning and the transition and the ride is smooth, and especially the biggest blister points, if you might call, this forefoot area, this zoom is wonderful. They should work on that, and it would be surprised to see them improve on this.